This is the Blue Moon Podcast. Coming up, we've got all the news and views from Manchester City's week. It's your club, and this is your show.
Happy new season, everybody. In the blink of an eye, the summer has gone and it's back to business for the next 9.5 months. And lots to put right for Manchester City after plenty went wrong last time around. Never fear though, as much as there are a lot of familiar faces returning, there is a lot of newness about the place as well. A combination of some new signings, a refreshed backroom staff, and even a change of captain choosing policy could mean that everybody is kept on their toes for the new campaign. Sam Rosbottom will be here a bit later on to talk us through what's happened since we were last on air. But we'll also catch up with Dave Azzopardi from Talking Wolves ahead of the opener at Molineux on Saturday. Welcome to the first episode of the 17th year of the Blue Moon Podcast, the only Manchester City podcast that's now old enough to legally donate blood, hold a UK driving licence and be given a legal warning or reprimand without there needing to be an appropriate adult present. It's a good job really, because if you wanted appropriate adults, you're in the wrong place. I'm David Mooney. With me to get the season underway, I've got City fan Ciaran Murray.
Hello there.
And from the Daily Mail, Jack Gaughan.
Hello David, you right?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. How's the summer treated you both? You good?
Not too bad, yeah. Just back from a camping excursion, so that was fun.
Excellent. Jack, you good?
Well, you can see from the colour of me that I'm enjoying the summer massively. I am an off-white, I would say.
Yeah, you've every time we do this sort of thing, you always talk about being troubled by the sun. Has it been? Was it difficult in the States when you're covering City? Was it warm?
I just put, mate. Honestly, I just put factor 50 on, and I'm fine. So, there's no messing about. Sicily. I was down to 30 in Sicily because I'd not planned the trip properly, and I was like, dangerous. Oh my god, get me out of this, please.
Yeah, dangerous. Ciaran, City have refreshed a fair bit this summer, which we'll get into shortly. Are you changing anything for the new season? You got any plans to freshen things up a bit with your routines?
Like a new season resolution sort of thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to stop calling it listener questions and call it Ask the Panel.
Oh, God. Right, okay, we're getting into that already,
yeah. Yeah, that's one of my main plans.
Excellent.
I think, just try and get to as many games as possible. For whatever reason, work and things were getting in the way last year, and I just want to get back to it and see my mates and enjoy the social side of things again. I feel like I was the lost man halfway through last season, and I'm just, I'm sort of contractually obliged to get to as many games as I can, or otherwise I'll lose my season ticket. But it would be lovely to stop letting stress and busyness kind of dictate me world and actually get back to the football and enjoy it again and enjoy the social aspect of it again, because I missed it far too often last year. Although it turns out I can't go to Spurs next week, so I'm off to a great start.
Good start. Yeah, flying.
I thought stress and busyness were basically the hallmarks of last season anyway, weren't they?
Well, that's it, yeah. So I was stressed by work, couldn't get to the football, and then was watching the football from home going, this is fucking stressing me out here. Everywhere I looked.
Supposed to be relaxing, this.
Yeah, I know. I was being hemmed in left, right and centre by, all sorts of world heaviness.
Yeah. Jack, any changes for you? You freshening things up any?
No. I'm not going to. It's the same old. I'd have. If I knew that question was coming, I would have had to think about it and try to come up with something, but I didn't. So I'd maybe, I don't know, maybe try and be a bit more enthusiastic about things. I say that every year.
A bit more prepared for podcasts, maybe?
No, I don't think you should. I don't think you should be prepared for podcasts. I think it should be, I think these podcasts that send out lists of topics and the actual script for the presenter's intro and things like that. I think podcasts that do that are over-prepared and take themselves way too seriously.
Well, he's been in the runner for 17 years, so something must be going right for him.
Yeah, right. Well, enough of that. It's our first podcast of the new season, and it's been one of the busiest summers that City have had in a long time. We didn't do anything during the Club World Cup, so this is the first chance we've had to reflect on any of that. Plus, there's been plenty of off-pitch news as well. So here's Sam Rosbottom to run through everything that's happened since we were last on air.
Last season ended with an emotional goodbye.
I don't think I can explain
how I feel about everything and how much I appreciate it. So I can just say thank you, and yeah, that's it.
That's Kevin De Bruyne speaking in his farewell interview. He decided not to go with City to the Club World Cup in America, so he didn't jeopardise his upcoming move to Napoli. It meant as the first summer transfer window opened, City needed to get on with their squad refresh before the tournament started in mid-June. First through the door was Ryan Ait-Nouri from Wolves.
It was an easy decision. We know the team. They show last few years it was the best team in the world. And the player, they are amazing. The coach also. It will be a pleasure to train with Pep Guardiola. I'm come here to learn, to show also what I can do, and I will give my best.
The new fullback was speaking to City TV. It was a whirlwind few days as 24 hours later, Ryan Cherki joined in a £34 million deal from Lyon.
My style is easy. I love to play with the ball. I love to skills. I love to help my teammate. I'm here for make the pleasure in the pitch. I prefer number 10, but wherever I am on the pitch is not important. I want just I'm in the pitch and I take the pleasure and I win.
On the same day as that deal was announced, City also brought in a new third-choice goalkeeper in the shape of Marcus Bettinelli from Chelsea. He was replacing the outgoing Scott Carson, and the next day there was a fourth player arriving, as the club paid something in the region of £46 million to AC Milan for Tijani Reinders.
Everybody knows how Manchester City is playing in general, with the playing style being dominant on the pitch against the opponents, and playing attacking football, and that's what suits me the best. I'm like a box-to-box midfielder who likes to join the build-up from the back, and eventually to feed the attackers and create chances, and also trying to score a goal by myself sometimes, yes.
Suddenly, in the space of 3 days, the squad was looking quite different. It was less than a week later that their Club World Cup campaign was beginning, so there was interest in how the new players would perform. It was a good start, with City winning their group thanks to victories over Wydad Casablanca, Al Ain and Juventus. The performance against the Italian side pleased Pep Guardiola as he spoke to DAZN.
It's a long time ago. We made a performance like today we have done, without the ball, and the players were committed. We talk what we have to improve to be who we were in the past.
So you're saying you feel like you have your Manchester City back, because it hasn't been an easy year for the club, has it?
No, but listen, it's just one game. But I think today, more than anything else, the players felt again what you have to do to be a good team.
The mood was understandably upbeat. It looked like a lot of the problems from last season were just on the way to being solved. But just 4 days later, they were knocked out of the competition by the Saudi Arabian side Al Hilal. Bernardo Silva told DAZN what went wrong.
It was all about controlling. When we lost the ball, it was controlling the transitions, don't let them run. And they ran way too many times. With 1-2 passes, there was always a feeling of danger coming from them. And when we allow teams to run like this, we always suffer a lot, and today was that case.
You have played a lot of football this season now. Looking forward to a break.
Yeah, we wanted to keep going. We wanted to play a few more games, but now that it's finished, we're going to rest. We're going to try to prepare the next season as well as possible. Because we need a few weeks.
Bernardo had been appointed City's new captain, with Ruben Dias, Rodri and Erling Haaland making up the rest of the captaincy group. Guardiola, who normally allowed the players to vote for their captains, made the executive decision to appoint them instead.
I'm the manager this season. For the first time in my career, I decided will be my captain. I didn't like what happened last season, and I decided this season will represent the team.
What was it that you didn't like from a leadership perspective?
No, but I decide this season. Sometimes I want to be the boss, and and this season I decide to do it. So I choose the 4 captains, and at the end of the tour, this World Cup, maybe we choose 1 or 2 more.
There were other changes behind the scenes too, with new faces in the backroom staff. Juan Malilo, Indigo Dominguez and Carlos Vincenz all departed, while Pep Linders, James French and Kolo Touré came in. French was joining directly from Liverpool, while Linders had been Jurgen Klopp's assistant at Anfield for many seasons during their rivalry with City.
For all the assistant managers I had, always I try to drink about their knowledge. So that is what it is. It's not just I give my opinion and then it's over. I need the people, like always happened last season with Juanma, in the past with Mikel, with Enzo, with Dome, with Rodo, with all the assistants help. People who help me always. What is your opinion? What would you do? How you would do? What do you make that drill? What do you do? That is what about. It's nice, and now we have experience with Colo, with James and Pep, and every time he had something, I said, "Wow, could be good. We can make this a step. We can be better."
After several weeks' holiday, the players came back to training, and there was another new face arriving too. Having left City for Burnley in 2023, goalkeeper James Trafford returned as City activated their buyback option and paid £31 million to make it happen. He spoke to City TV.
I knew my journey would look differently, and throughout it I always believed that I'd be coming back, and when I left on loan when I was 18 or when I left to Burnley when I was 20, I always believed that one day I'd be back, and I worked to achieve this moment.
Trafford was the latest signing by City's new director of football. Hugo Viana had led the summer business after taking over the reins from Chiki Vigurestein, who was retiring after 13 years at the Etihad. The transfer business may not be finished either. A City squad is perhaps a little on the large side, though it was made smaller with Jack Grealish's loan to Everton. It did mean, though, that the short pre-season, the team saw a lot of rotation. After winning a behind-closed-doors friendly against Preston North End, City travelled to Palermo, where Guardiola played two almost entirely different 11s in each half of a 3-0 win. It means, as things stand, predicting the lineup for the Premier League opener against Wolves this weekend could be a little trickier than usual.
I'm Terry Phelan, and you're listening to the Blue Moon podcast. Thank you very much.
This is the Blue Moon podcast, and we're very sorry about that.
So then, let's start with the Club World Cup, Jack. You were out there. 2-0 over Casablanca, 6-0 over Al Ain, 5-2 over Juventus, and then defeat to Al Hilal after extra time, 4-3. It felt like a strange old campaign because it felt like as the group was going on, and certainly at the end of that Juventus game, it felt like a lot of good feeling was back. The first half against Al Hilal seemed pretty decent, and then out of nowhere, same old problems again.
Yeah, you had the halcyon days of Wydad Casablanca and utopia that was Al Ain. And it was basically the 24-25 season against Al Hilal, really. After the Juve game, there was a lot of people going, "Oh, they're back! Like this is amazing. They're playing really, really good football." But I think those of us that were out there, I think there was about 7 or 8 of us covering the tournament from a City perspective. I think we were all fairly balanced. Like it would have been quite easy to go overboard and go, "Oh my god, like this attacking is amazing!" Like, but equally, I think you have to look at the sort of opponents. Like Casablanca were much better than Al Ain, who just weren't very good. And then, Juve had taken a massive dip, so they're not like, all right, sort of kind of trading on the name at the moment. I don't think Juventus were particularly brilliant, but I still managed to sort of carve quite a few opportunities out. Casablanca had a few chances as well. So that I thought at the end of the group stage, was like, this is significantly more exciting and is improved on the ball, but they have got like problems going the other way. And that then became self-evident in the last 16 game, which was, I think, as astonishing a performance as anything that we saw last year. Really, I had a couple of. There's actually a guy that sits in front of the press box at the Etihad that I say hello to most weeks. And I've had a very brief chat with. Really nice fella. He emailed me a couple of days after the Al Hilal game and said, "I think your match report was bang out of order, like really negative, blah blah blah." I was thinking, well, I don't know what you want us to say. shipped 4 goals against a team that you should be beating comfortably. All right, that have got decent players, but if there was this massive improvement that we'd seen in the group stage, you should easily deal with Al Hilal. And it wasn't even it was just the way they gave the game up and how they defended, and even down to I think one of them came from their own corner, where it's, people have been discussing the great James French and how much work he'd done with them on set pieces and things like that, and then they go and concede from their own corner, where it's you've got Reinders on halfway, not really sure whether he's going to go for a second ball, and then I think it was Aitnour who got caught out. So it's just the same old stuff, to be honest, just a continuation, which is funny because going into it was all last season was last season, and the Club World Cup is the start of the new season. It's but you've done exactly the same thing, bro.
Yeah, now that the same things have happened, let's wrap it up into what happened last season and start afresh this weekend. That's that's how I'm looking at it.
I think so.
Yeah, Ciaran, it was difficult watching the games from here because obviously a lot of them took place in the middle of the night.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of, when you woke up to see that City had been knocked out by Al Hilal, did that kind of feel like all of the good work, all the good positive vibes that had been from the games before, it just immediately gone? Or is there still something you could take from them?
I've got a confession to make. I didn't wake up and see the result. I woke up in the middle of the night. Bizarrely, I was having a bit of trouble sleeping then, so I stuck it on my phone and watched it live. So I was able to follow along with that, and it was just, I can't really believe what happened. It was astonishing, and it was, because it was kind of in the middle of the night, it felt like a bit of a fever dream as well. And I can't really remember anything about it, other than thinking that this is the same old story again. This is it was who was the big ridiculous 3-3 draw? Fenerbahce, was it, or somebody in the Champions League?
Oh, Feyenoord.
Sorry. So when we had that mad draw with Feyenoord, and it was just that was such a kind of culmination, epitome of things when you look back on last season, as things going wrong, decent enough setup, but you should be beating them comfortably, and then just where is the defence and what's going on here? It feels like lots of the problems have been addressed, and the new signings look great. Brilliant to have Rodri back. Foden looks like he's fit and firing again. And you do look and go, right, okay, yeah. I mean, the theme of this episode so far has been a refresh and starting anew. And then you look at that result, and it was just like everything that's been going on here is a hallmark of what happened last season, and the problems and the way we suffered and the ridiculous individual errors. At one point, I remember Ruben Diaz giving away a penalty, but it was like the penalty was ruled out because of offside. But just looking at what he'd done, it was just immediately after City had scored, and then just this unbelievably rash head loss tackle. And luckily there was a bit of a reprieve, but it didn't matter because City ended up crashing out anyway. So it was just, in some ways it was nice, and I think you heard Bernardo say that in the clip there, it was nice to get a rest, because God knows the players needed it, and it was nice, with no traditional summer tournament. It would have been nice to just have a complete clean slate and a real refresh. So the Club World Cup to some degree was a bit of a pain in the arse for that reason. But then going a bit further would have been nice too, and an embarrassing defeat of that nature, just and then who went on to win it was Chelsea. I mean, at least we didn't have to do a cup lift with Donald Trump. That's one benefit of it all. But it was a bit of a mad tournament that I thought I was going to have no interest in whatsoever, and then I ended up watching it at 5:30 in the morning or something. It was just. It was nice to see some of the new signings in action. It was nice to see some of the old guard looking a bit better, but it was a bit ridiculous to see the old problems of last season kind of coming back to haunt us again.
I think you could probably, the Al Hilal result, maybe in terms of because obviously they're playing a bit different, they were playing a little bit better. Maybe we end up looking at it as a bit of a freak result and performance. Hopefully that's the way that it's viewed in hindsight. But as I said before, at the time, it felt like, well, when
at the start of that blip last season, you just thought they were all freak results, and then all of a sudden a freak result led into another freak result into another freak result. It was just like, right, this is a freak season blip, and then just with that game, and I mean, as much as it did seem like, you know, this isn't really going to happen once we get going and once we get settled. João Cancelo was probably man of the match for them as well. It was mad. That was a real stinger, like, to see Mr. Cancelo doing so well. But yeah, no, there were nice aspects to take of that whole tournament and even that match, to be fair. And most of those nice things were the new signings and how well this seemed to settle in.
I mean, that game, the Al Hilal game, should be remembered for that Foden goal. I mean, that is such an amazing goal.
Yeah,
like, and the fact that he's like, that's come from his movement and his sort of understanding with Turkey already in Turkey's first few weeks, or whatever. That should fill people with like loads of optimism if they can manage to get those two players in the same team. But then, you know, the enduring memory of the night was Malcolm having 60 yards to run into on his own and like slip it past Ederson. But yeah, and Ciaran described it absolutely right when he said it was like a fever dream. It was like a fever dream being sat there, to be honest, behind glass, not being able to hear the sort of atmosphere of what's going on. Because that's the amazing thing about covering sport in America is like you are in a little cocoon where like you're there, but you're not really involved. Like you can't hear anyone. All you can see is ball moving around, and like you really learn. It was like watching COVID football. Like you really learn whether you actually like the sport or whether you just like the hoopla around it.
We went to see a New York Mets game when we were in New York in May there, and Jesus, talk about hoopla! Like, I didn't have a clue what was going on with the baseball. Every time somebody went to hit the bat, they ended up not even moving. The ball just breezed past them. It's like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, and then they would stop playing, and there'd be cheerleaders out. There'd be a mascot race. There'd be t-shirt guns going off. It was just like, this is all just ceremony and fun, and like, it ended up being really good crack. But it was like the sport has really taken a backseat to this actual event that I'm at here. It was all just about like mad stuff that was going on after every fucking innings or whatever you call it, like. So that the Americanization of football or soccer, like that we're all worried about it. It is so weird and sterile, and the sport itself does take a back seat. Like,
yeah, Ciaran, you just reminded me as well in there where you said about the at least not having to do a trophy lift with Donald Trump. I was a ringer for a team in a tournament over the summer that we ended up winning the tournament, and they didn't have a trophy for the end of it, and they made us do a trophy. They made us do a trophy lift without a trophy, and said they'll Photoshop one in afterwards.
It's that Arsenal FIFA gif that goes about, isn't it? Have you seen that one? I think there must have been a glitch in the PlayStation or something, and it looks like the Arsenal like players are lifting the trophy and they're all celebrating, but there's like nothing in their hands. So anytime that Arsenal do something now that like wins the parade kind of vibes, somebody posts that of them lifting no trophy. It's really good.
You see stats pop up all the time about clubs and players, and you want to know that exact thing about City. There's an answer. Statscity.co.uk. Want to find out all of the players who played alongside club legends like David Silva, Sergio Aguero or Vincent Kompany? Or maybe you'd like to know which team found it hardest to score past Joe Hart. You can find out City's record in every competition, at every stadium, and under every manager. Just go to statscity.co.uk and browse away. That's statscity.co.uk.
Get a dollop of City nostalgia every Monday. Sign up at patreon.com/Blue Moon Podcast.
Ciaran's mentioned already the new signings. Let's run through them. Aït-Nouri from Wolves, around about 32 million. Cherki from Lyon, around about 34 million. Reinders from AC Milan, about 46 million. And then Trafford from Burnley, around 31 million at the time of recording. Maybe some more to come still. What do you rate the business so far this summer?
Yeah, good. I think they were really I thought they were really definitive before the Club World Cup on what they wanted. All right, they pivoted away from Morgan Gibbs-White, which It was a big surprise because Gibbs White thought he was joining City. I think everyone thought he was going. But I think Cherky became available at a really, really good price, and they sort of pivoted away from it a little bit. I think it was quite decisive. Reinders looks a good player, and I think the thing with Reinders is that last season there were no goals from midfield at all with her, and Reinders gives me that sort of vibe of Gundogan pre-Barcelona, where it's like ghosting in, makes the back post his own. I'd be surprised if Reinders doesn't get over 8 goals in the league this year.
I wondered if you were going to say double figures then.
Well, I wanted to say double figures, but I didn't want to be wrong, so we've gone with 8. Really looking forward to watching him play. And sort of, I asked Pep on Friday night in Palermo about sort of the amount of centre midfielders they've got, because they've got like 8, 9, 10 players that can play middle of midfield. So, well, like, what are you going to do about that? And he said, well, I think he kind of misunderstood the question, but he's like, we've only got 3. We've only got Rodri, who's not fully fit. We've got Kovacic, who's out till October, which was a little bit of a bombshell. And then Nico Gonzalez. And he was obviously talking about the number 6 position. And he sees, so he went on to sort of say that Reinders is his sort of 8. He's obviously the Gundogan. Like, he's the Gundogan of 3-4 years ago. And that's what he's been signed for. And he looks to have, he played much deeper during the Club World Cup to sort of varying success. But then Saturday, I know it was only against Palermo, who are in the 2nd division of Italy, but he looked very strong in there.
Yeah. Ciaran, I want to touch on the goalkeepers as well, because there's been a lot of fanfare around James Trafford's return and kind of the position that it leaves with Ederson. Is he going to come and take the number 1 jersey away from Ederson? Is he coming in to put pressure on Ederson, try and improve his performances? And then earlier this week we got the bombshell. Well, maybe Ederson leaves and Donnarumma comes in. So what's your feelings on it all?
Well, as I said, I was camping in the lakes for the past 2 days. Really, really bad signal, and I've kind of come home today and tried to catch up on my messages and the groups on Twitter and stuff. And this Donnarumma stuff just seems really mad. I was sad enough about losing Ortega. I really didn't want Ederson to go. I think he's been absolutely crucial since we've signed him to the success. The way he plays, how comfortable he is with his feet, his passing ability. Obviously, he's been at fault, or certainly at the scene of the crime, for a lot of mistakes, and goals seem to slip by him a little bit. He does seem.
I mean, in fairness, and I know I get hammered for being part of the goalkeepers union, but in fairness, every goalkeeper is always at the scene of a crime when the goal goes in.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Well, not unless you're really, really, really bad, and you're not at the scene of the crime, are you?
Just so often when City concede, especially when it's away and everybody's watching on TV together, the WhatsApp groups will just be like, what the fuck is Ederson doing there? What's Ederson doing there? It always seems to be Ederson could have done better, or the finger's being pointed at him. And, there's just mistakes have crept into his game, and it seems to be that he could have done a lot better, with his hands, stopping shots. And as far as I'm aware, this Donnarumma is pretty handy at that. But isn't he's not renowned for his footballing ability, is he? So that surprises me a little bit. I sort of thought Ortega would go, Ederson would stay number 1, Trafford would kind of use his experience and work his way into being the number 1 between the 6, and that seemed to suit everybody's kind of idea about what way things were going to proceed. And yeah, it's just a bit of a spanner in the works. And I because I've just been half catching up and half reading messages, I don't know how concrete this Donnarumma stuff is. I liked the look of him years ago when he was first sort of coming through, but I don't know. Is he a bit of a spent force now? Is he an improvement? Is he an upgrade? Does he allow City to play the way that we have with Ederson? So yeah, I feel a bit sorry for Trafford if this storm's kind of going on around him. Whereas he thought he was just going to come in and sort of gradually make his way back to number one again after having left, and then they've activated his buyback. He must have been impressing them, and now, and we've already bought a third goalkeeper as well, haven't we? After losing Carson, so it just seems like there's too many men for a really sought after role that doesn't get changed about often enough. So I don't know how concrete are the Donnarumma rumours like.
I was going to say, Jack, tell us now that it's not happening, please.
Yeah, well, it's there's been sort of conflicting stuff coming out from various different people this week. City have made it clear that they're not interested in letting Ederson go and would only look to sign a goalkeeper, i.e. Donnarumma, if Ederson were to leave, but their preference is that he stays. However, there are other people that know Ederson that say Ederson's waiting on them to sign Donnarumma before he can go. So there's like a little bit of miscommunication going on. There's two, it's that old thing, isn't it? Two sides.
That's the old freelancer paradox where somebody says to you, what's your day rate? And you say to them, well, what's your budget? And they say, well, what's your day rate?
Yeah. I think Donnarumma's day rate is quite large.
It's larger than mine.
I think he would be. I think he would be an upgrade with his hands, definitely on Ederson. But I mean, just chalk and cheese with the feet. Donnarumma can't play. So I don't know whether. Yeah, there's loads of different things that go on with this, like the agents and people get used and things like that. But it does, there is definitely interest in him, and Ederson's future is very much up in the air. And I don't think. I mean, I've been writing a piece today. Hopefully, will get published at some point before the Wolves game, which is not massively helpful to go into a season with this much confusion. And I don't think Guardiola knows his best 11. Guardiola will know who his goalkeeper is going to be for the season, but none of us do. And I don't know. It seems like a little bit chaotic to me at the moment. When you add in the Savinho and Rodrigo stuff as well, you've got the manager telling us on Friday that there were going to be no other signings unless loads of players left. And then you've got Donnarumma, Rodrigo, Savinho's a bit like, I don't know what my future looks like here. Tottenham have obviously been given enough encouragement to sort of test the waters with City. You've got, I think the biggest thing will be that squad that travels to Wolves on Saturday. There are going to be quite a few players that are really pissed off on Saturday, and I think that is when you're going to know what that squad's going to look like, because there's going to be a few of them going, Jesus, I'm absolutely nowhere near this. I need to go. I need to leave. There's already been some murmurs from different people saying we've got an eye on Saturday. So it'll be interesting to see what sort of transpires after that.
Yeah, well, we'll come to what does happen on Saturday shortly. A couple of other stories to box off before we do, though. Jack, I'm interested in the backroom staff changes as well, because they basically had a bit of a clear out before the Club World Cup, and they've now got Pep Lijnders joining Guardiola, and there was the story of Guardiola asking for Klopp's permission about that. James French, ex-Liverpool.
Permission's a strong word, isn't it?
Yeah. James French, ex-Liverpool. Kolo Touré, ex-Liverpool. Fresh ideas?
Yeah. Lijnders is a really interesting one. It sort of kind of points towards a change in style and attitude, I would say. Probably something a bit more direct. And if you look at the players that they've brought in, like Reinders and Cherki in particular, are more vertical players than we've been sort of used to. And that, I suppose, signings in recent seasons like Doku and Savinho have sort of kind of been a little bit more up and down as well. Kolo, yeah.
I was under the impression Kolo Touré was only supposed to be there for the Club World Cup, and then it seems like everybody liked him and he got on with it, and he's done a good job, so they've gone, come and stay a bit longer.
It was effectively a trial to see how it went. like the suggestion going in was that he's probably going to get this job full time, but they didn't announce it. And they were saying, it's just for the Club World Cup, we'll see how it goes, sort of thing. But then the players loved him, and he, he's built up a rapport with quite a few of them quite quickly, which is a positive thing. And you need a balance in a backroom team. You can't just have four Pep Linders that are like chewing the manager's ear off about like whether they're going to play three at the back or five or whatever all the time. Like you need like different personalities. So
there was Fernandinho rumours that he was coming back. Did they just fizzle out?
City always said that he wasn't. Like from like very early from January, they always said no, that's not happening. I think the Toure thing is just as interesting as Linda's, really. Obviously for very different reasons. Like, I think the fun went out of playing for City last year. And I know for a fact that the players weren't happy with the communication or lack thereof from the coaches. Like, so ordinarily you would have like Pep would go off on one in a team meeting or whatever, or in a dressing room, and he just go, whatever. And then quite a lot of the players are like, don't know sort of how to take that, like, don't know how to digest all that. And then in years gone by, they would have had someone that would be an Arteta or a Maresca or Lilo the first time or whatever, that would come round and say, he actually means this, blah, blah, and they'll talk you through it. Apparently there was absolutely none of that last season. And the players are like, we're not like, I don't know, it didn't seem that cohesive from the people I've spoken to. I mean, everyone will have a different view on it, won't they? But so I think Toure is quite an astute signing from that perspective, and then which sort of allows like Linders and Pep to do the coaching.
Yeah. The other story that kind of got my interest as well, Ciaran, was we heard actually in the feature there Jack asking Guardiola about it when Guardiola's picked his own captains. He had 1 year of Kyle Walker captain voted by the squad, and he's changed his entire way of doing it.
Yeah, and that was always the way it was done, wasn't it? It was always like a democratic vote, because I remember something bizarre, like in Nathan Ake, and he'd only just arrived, and he was like, he got loads of votes in the player ballot, because they found him captain material, or had leadership qualities straight off. So no, I'm glad. I mean, the Walker experiment didn't really work. A captain did it, especially like as he was given more responsibility, his form just absolutely fell off a cliff, and you were looking at him so often to be the leader, to be the representative, and then he was just letting things slip so badly. And again, talking about scene of the crime, he was heavily involved in so many mistakes, so many individual errors, and massive fuck ups, like
caked in blood, holding the weapon.
Yeah. Fingerprints everywhere. So yeah, I remember at one game last season, I've no idea who it was against, but Walker came off the bench. I think it might have even been his last game at the Etihad. So he came off the bench. Diaz or De Bruyne or somebody handed him the captain's armband, and he refused it. He was going, no. It was just right where we sit, so I was able to kind of see it and see the confusion. I think it was De Bruyne actually, and he was going, take the armband like your captain. He was going, no, you hold on to it. And it was just, it made a deal out of nothing. But I remember clocking it, going, like, is he not wanting that because he doesn't feel, captain-y enough?
I think he knew he was leaving, didn't he?
Or does he know he's leaving?
Already had that, yeah.
Yeah. Or does he feel like not worthy enough to wear it because he knows how badly he's been playing? Or was it a bit of a fuck you moment? Like, I'm not wearing that armband because I'm on my way out of here, and I've not been appreciated. So there was all these kind of like little subplots going on in my head as to what that kind of meant. But knowing now that Pep's sort of had enough of the players choosing, and seeing how badly that went, having Walker, it's brilliant again to see him kind of stepping in and taking a stand. But the result of his choice is really surprising, like, because I just wouldn't have put. I love, like, Bernardo Silva was my favorite City player. Like, I absolutely adore him, but I wouldn't have put him as captain. I just don't know, maybe the literal stature of him, and he's a bit of a piss taker, So it's funny that he landed on that. But the captaincy team as such, Rodri, Diaz, and Haaland, what a kind of vote of confidence that is for Haaland as well. So I think just in terms of whatever Walker was doing, either off the pitch with his attitude, on the pitch with his kind of mistakes, just not being enough of a leader. Some of the stuff that he was saying as well, bloody hell. Anytime he was near a microphone, he would just drop an absolute stinker. It's sad because he was an unbelievable player, an unbelievable servant, and a great right back for City, and he was class. Like, I mean, is the silverware that he collected, shows, but he really did kind of damage and tarnish things a little bit, at the tail end of his career. And to go to AC Milan, they really didn't appreciate him out there, and then end up at Burnley. It was not the career trajectory I would have thought for Kyle Walker. And then Pep kind of digging him further by saying there's no way they're choosing the captain again after that disaster. It's up to me now.
Yeah, Jack, he said to you that he wasn't happy with some things last season. You said, well, what was it you weren't happy about? And he just goes, well, I wanted to be the boss. And it's like, it's almost a case of like read between the lines there, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, like Bernardo's done an interview with us this week where sort of set out his manifesto for being the captain for this season, and a lot of what he had to say was like about standards and turning up on time to training and not cheating your career and things like that. And he's like, these are thinly veiled at certain individuals last season, aren't they?
Well, he had the thing last season as well, didn't he? About you know who you can be in the trenches with at times like this. Yeah.
And I don't know whether this was. It might have been nothing, but he was asked like, of all the captains you've played for, who have you sort of like learnt the most off? And he reeled off every single captain and missed one out. There was one that he missed out. So he was very sort of forthright on how things had slipped and been allowed to slip last season. And I would disagree with Ciaran slightly in the sense that I think it makes perfect sense in Pep choosing him. Now, I don't think Bernardo would have been chosen by a democratic vote. I think Diaz or Rodri would have been chosen. But like, Silva is Pep's lieutenant. Like, he's effectively been the teacher's pet for the last 8 years, hasn't he, really?
I always figure with him as well that when Guardiola wants something doing, he can just say to Bernardo, look, can you do this? And Bernardo goes, yeah, I understand why, I'll do it.
Yeah, and there was a degree of, I think we can all agree that Bernardo, like everyone else, didn't perform particularly brilliantly last season, but there is a degree of sort of respect from Pep that like he was never injured and always made himself available. And, you've got certain players, and I'm thinking Walker, Grealish, Edison, and a couple of others that for some games didn't make themselves available when maybe in previous years they would have done. And Silva was always there, always played despite his form. So
that's the trenches idea again, then, isn't it? Like, who you can rely on even when the chips are down and the troops are injured. Like, if you're going to put yourself out there and put yourself forward for it all.
Who's fighting with us? Yeah. Who's fighting?
Yeah, exactly, because things really weren't going well at times last year, and sometimes you can't just throw the head up and go, fuck this, like, and you want to flee. But if, when fight or flight kicks in, Bernardo's always fight.
There's a few of them. I mean, there is a few of them that played through injuries and knocks and whatever last year. Like, Akanji played with quite a serious problem for a long time last season. So there were a few of them that did it, but not all of them did it. And like, I think one of the hallmarks of City under Guardiola is that they've always fought as a group. And I think that just went. And I think it was probably a byproduct of the previous success, and it's just gone too far and he'd asked them to go to the well too many times, and they didn't. You know, as Caldoon said at the end of last season, they weren't aggressive enough last summer in the transfer market. And Pep's idea that was that he was going to leave after the Club World Cup initially, and he's basically asked all these players to go again for one last dance. And then things changed.
Yeah. Just quickly as well, Jack, Haaland's an interesting choice.
Yeah, I mean, who would you pick ahead of him?
Well, I'm just thinking more along the lines of.
They're grooming him for it in the future, aren't they?
Yeah, but it's almost like personal development, isn't it? Like, we've given you your 10-year contracts. You've had the goals. We want you to be more involved in the team. Come on now, step up.
Yeah, and there is that, and he will be captain at some point. I think, just given his age and how long you would expect him to stay at the club. But he really cares. Haaland genuinely really cares about the sort of fortunes of the team and his teammates. And I think if you've got that, those are the main ingredients that you need to be a proper captain, I think.
Yeah, halfway there.
And he commands respect, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He genuinely commands respect. Doesn't matter that he's younger than
he should have taken a penalty in the cup final, though.
Yeah. Although, weirdly, I mean, his penalty record was so bad, wasn't it? Well, not so, but it dipped. And Marmouche, the way he struck, you just expect Marmouche to put that away, no problem.
Yeah.
I'd forgotten about that.
I know. Just wasn't meant to be that day, was it?
You know what? Quite a lot of last season and the Club World Cup, I just sort of forgotten the details of the games and stuff like that. It was just something that happened in front of me. I don't know if everyone else felt the same thing.
It was fever dream-esque. And do you know what? Another thing, there's just so much football.
Yeah,
It's really, really, really hard to digest and take it all in. And you know, I used to be able to remember the absolute intricacies of, little moments and games. And not even big games, just like little personal kind of or reel off what result it was. Like, we're playing Wolves at the weekend. I honest to God cannot remember either Wolves game last season. What happened?
John Stones last minute.
Oh, I do. So it needs something. It needs something to trigger it, and then I go, oh yeah. But as a kind of bring into my own mind memory, no, nothing, gone. And it is. I feel it's football overload a little bit, and it does become a little bit. What I was talking earlier on about my own kind of stresses and my own sort of personal stuff, just it becomes a little bit too overwhelming. Where it's not only every weekend, but it's every Tuesday or Wednesday as well, every single week. It's just a fucking hell, like.
Well, let's get into all that then, because it's back this weekend. You'll be. I'm delighted to realise, I'm sure.
Ad-free episodes are available on Patreon. Sign up at patreon.com/Blue Moon Podcast.
Let's start by getting a view from Molineux. I've been speaking to Dave Azzopardi from Talking Wolves to get a feeling of how their pre-season has gone and what the mood is like ahead of this weekend's season opener.
I wish I could be a little bit more positive, to be fair. It's been a frustrating summer, frustrating pre-season, I think, for Wolves as well. I've been obviously on this podcast many times, and I always try and stay pretty positive. And I still have belief that we've got quality to be a Premier League side and be competitive next season. But I think the way that we've gone about replacing our top players, we've made very difficult work of it, I think. So in regards to pre-season, we went winless, which is frustrating, obviously. But I had a look at some of the teams' results, and there are still other teams. I think Forest, for one, as well, scored 1 goal in 7 games, only won a couple. So there's plenty of other teams in the division in the same sort of situation. So it's not the end of the world. There's not a lot of confidence off the pitch, with the fan base going into the season. I think sort of the only maybe thing that might help Wolves, I think going into Saturday, City are obviously going to be clear favourites for that game anyway. I think that could do Wolves a favour, because I think if we went into Saturday and we were playing Leeds, Burnley, Sunderland, there's so much pressure on us to get a result in that game. So I think the City game, hopefully we show some impressive signs and it can relax the fans a little bit. But in terms of how preparation goes, it's far from ideal, really, and it's going to hopefully be a busy end to the season. But as you know, as fans know, you want to try and get your signings and your new players in as quickly as we can, and we're just not seeing that this summer so far at Wolves.
Yeah, I was just looking at your business, and I mean, Wikipedia numbers are maybe not necessarily the most accurate numbers, but it looks like you've turned quite a healthy profit in terms of transfer fees. Which, again, as you say, like it's nice to bring in the money, but then to not have it reinvested in the squad, maybe a bit worrying.
Yeah, definitely, and it's been the case. I think Fosun, who own Wolves, they've sort of made a conscious effort pretty much since COVID, really, and there were a few signings around that period which I think really stung them. Gonzalo Guedes was one. Fabio Silva is obviously another one who could still bring us in some money this summer, to be fair, Fabio, but probably signings and spending a lot of money on players that weren't giving them an instant impact in the team. So they've sort of changed their transfer stance now and wanting to be self-sufficient, which is all well and good, but it's so difficult to remain competitive in the Premier League, playing like that and doing that sort of strategy. So, yeah, I think there's money there still. I think there was money last season that they could have spent and they didn't. And then, like you've said, we've sold Cunha, we've sold Aït-Nouri to yourselves. There should be money there to spend, and they're trying to be clever with it, which I don't mind at all. As a football fan, I can appreciate that. But when you can see, the club are in dire need of reinforcements, it's just a little bit frustrating that we've been so slow in the market, really.
Yeah, and I mean it's this time of year as well. We always talk about last two seasons, the three promoted sides have gone straight back down again, and there's always kind of discussions around, well, who, if they're going to stay up, who are they going to catch? Have you noticed Wolves' name being kind of thrown around there a little bit? Because Brentford are one of the teams that have been thrown into that with the sales that they've made. Has it been the same sort of story with Wolves?
Yeah, a little bit, but it's been the case, to be fair, the last couple of seasons. I think that whenever, a couple of seasons ago, we lost, the likes of Neves and so on, and Kilman, and people were saying, I think Wolves are going to go down, especially as we finished the season before quite poorly. Last year, we lost the likes of Neto, and our name was mentioned again. And although we started off the season very poorly, we caught up and, we stayed safe by some margin in the end. And this season, I've seen a few shouts, probably not as many as I expected, to be completely honest. But I think, like you said, with teams like Brentford, losing major players and having an interesting choice of manager, I think they're in the discussion as well. But I still think that, we're good enough to stay in the division, but unfortunately, when there's a lot of negativity off the pitch, that can easily spill onto the pitch as well. So I think it's just important for the squad and Vitor Pereira to basically keep their minds sort of internally at Compton, the training ground, and at Molineux, because I think as soon as they start looking at social media, it's just a different story. I think I've spoken to some people at the club, and they can appreciate it's been a slow transfer window, but they can't believe how toxic it is amongst the Wolves fan base at the moment. But I think it's just because the fans have almost had to sort of deal with this slow, and you look at our league positions from when we came back to the Premier League, back-to-back 7th place finishes, and it's just got worse year on year. And I think it's just got to boiling point this summer where fans have just lost their cool and just can't take it anymore. So it's really pivotal that they have a strong end to the transfer window, because we could go into this campaign again with just unneeded criticism and negativity. And at the moment, I think Vitor Pereira's got a lot of credit in the bank. But if results don't go his way early part of the season, fans will quickly turn on him as well. I think that's just unfortunately how fickle football fans are, and that's when it could turn nasty, I think.
Yeah, I saw a video actually that you'd done with a few Wolves fans, like asking what their opinions were of the new season. I saw a few of them were nervous about it. What's the opinion of Vitor Pereira? Because obviously came in last season, did a wonderful job to get you playing and make you a real force at the back end of the Premier League season. As you say, credit in the bank for that. What are the hopes for this season for him?
He sort of limited expectations a little bit, which I think is good in a way. Earlier on in the summer, he'd put a lot of pressure on the club to try and get signings in by the 1st of July, which, like I mentioned earlier, is never the easiest thing. I think unless you're in a position like yourselves, like Chelsea, they got a lot of deals done early, but obviously you were in the Club World Championship as well, so that was quite important to do so. I think a couple of weeks after that, I think he sort of realised that maybe he was asking a little bit too much on the club, and he calmed down a little bit. But he said himself, he knows that at the moment it'll be way too much to ask us to start competing in the top half of the table and pushing for Europe again. I think he knows he's got to be realistic and get Wolves to push for a mid-table finish, which I think can be realistic. I think another couple of quality additions, there's no reason why we can't do that. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. He's got a lot of credit in the bank, like I said, because he finished off the season quite well. Went 6 wins in a row towards the end of last season, which was one of the best winning streaks out of any team in the Premier League last year. So it was a real nice run. And you would have seen him go to the pubs with fans. He's got a lot of credit, but people have got a lot of time for him. That's just why I'm concerned that when people start to run out of things to blame, whether it's the players, whether it's the board, the finger, if the results don't go our way, the finger will start to be pointed at the manager, and he doesn't deserve that based on what he's done for us so far. So I just really hope he has a fairly positive start to the season and he gets some players in before the end of the transfer window as well.
Yeah, for sure. Just looking at your outgoings, obviously we'll come to Aït-Nouri in a second, but you lost Matthias Cunha as well to Manchester United. How's that kind of gone down? How's the feeling around that?
The feeling was weird after losing Cunha, because he was a phenomenal player for us. I mean, you look at his numbers, a lot of people would argue that he was the sole reason we stayed in the Premier League, really. And I think Wolves fans would argue that because we had a lot of quality from Aït-Nouri and Jürgen Strand-Larsen, actually, 14 Premier League goals last season, which I think a lot of people don't realise. But there's no doubt Cunha had a massive part in why we stayed up last season. I think his behaviour second half of the season sort of ended his time at Wolves in a bit of a negative light. So I think Wolves fans weren't too concerned actually about losing him. But I think what we probably hoped at the time was that the majority of that money would be reinvested in a replacement. And although we have signed 1 or 2 players in that position, I don't know if we still got the quality that Matthias gave us. So that, I think he will be a big loss, but it's not something that's concerned the Wolves fan base throughout this summer, to be completely honest, because just his attitude wasn't what you want, especially when you're a team in that sort of position, where there's every chance you could be looking, at the teams breathing down across your shoulder, so you want players that are up for it, want to perform and want to win football matches, and unfortunately Cunha at times just didn't give that attitude, to be honest.
Yeah, and let's come to Aït-Nouri as well, because I found that a bit of a weird transfer, to be honest, because when I'd seen him play for Wolves a few times, I thought this guy looks like the sort of player that City should be interested in. And then he just seemed to be like a Wolves player, and it just seemed to be that his identity was I am a Wolves player, and that like almost like City had missed the boat on him. And then I look at the money, and 31 million seems like quite a bargain actually for him. So, what's the feeling around that?
Yeah, there was a lot of disappointed Wolves fans with that, and especially because we had to give his former club, Angers, we had to pay them nearly 10 million euros from that deal. So, Wolves didn't make a hell of a lot of money from that deal at all. I think he was worth more than that. I think the left-back market, or the transfer market in general, is really weird in terms of fees at the moment. You look at Kerkez, went for a little bit more, I think, but not huge amounts more. But Aït-Nouri's got, still a young lad, but got loads of Premier League experience. Joined us when he was sort of 18 and been ever present, really. Lopetegui didn't really get on with him, but every other manager seemed to like him. I think Gary O'Neill and Vitor Pereira really got a good tune out of him, to be honest, and he really kicked on last year. I think if he can add to his end product a little bit more, I think you're talking a top-end sort of world-class left-sided defender, and I think he could do that at Manchester City. I think a lot of the reservations Wolves fans had about him maybe moving to City is that old cliche of, is Pep going to coach the flair and the skill out of him and so on. But
trust me, that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. Trust me.
So I'm looking forward to seeing how he can get on. I caught little glimpses of him in the Club World Championship, and I just think in the positions and the areas that he's going to be able to get into where he rarely got into at Wolves, I think he could add some good numbers this year. So disappointed to see him go, for that fee as well. He was a great player for us. We have signed a player to potentially replace him, but I just don't think for a long time we'll be able to touch the quality that Ryan gave us for most part of his Wolves career.
Yeah, I'm interested what reception he'll get, because there's a very strong likelihood that right back will be Matthias Nunes and left back will be Ryan Aït-Nouri, and there could be. Is there likely to be completely contrasting reactions to the pair of them?
There could be. I think Aït-Nouri, there shouldn't be any sort of ill feeling towards him. I think we were lucky that he stayed at Wolves as long as he did. I think probably for the last we've had it with a lot of footballers at Wolves. Like Neves was one, Pedro Neto was another one. They sort of stayed for probably a season or even 2 seasons longer than they probably should have. And I think Aït-Nouri was the same. I think going in towards this summer, there was a feeling that, yes, Cunha was definitely going to go, but there was probably going to be one more major exit, whether that would be João Gomez or Aït-Nouri. And obviously, you guys jumped on that quite early, but I don't think there'll be any ill feeling towards him. Nunes, I can't say the same about. I think there'll be the same old toxic atmosphere for him. But for Aït-Nouri, I think the Molineux crowd has been weird over the last couple of years. You'll probably get a section of them booing, but I think it'll be applause before the game and then maybe applause after the game.
This the gamble you take is you change clubs. It happens, doesn't it? It's
exactly,
not. It's
we had a couple of years ago where obviously we had Nathan Collins, who's at Brentford now, and then we let him go after just a year, and we played him a couple of months into the season, and he was stood taking a throw in by one of our ends, and a few fans booed him, and he just turned around and he was like, "What are you on about? Like, why am I getting booed here?" So I think a few fans had a telling off, and nothing else. But I think the atmosphere and the towards Ryan will be absolutely fine anyway.
Yeah. What are you hoping for this season? Because as we touched on, the feeling might be a bit negative going in there. There's obviously kind of a lot of uncertainties this season. What do you hope to see from Wolves?
Just to have a stable season. I think last year was extremely stressful up until about Christmas. To be fair, up until about March, we're just constantly looking, behind our backs and I don't want to be in a position where I'm having to check the results of the 3 teams that have just come up. I was having to check what Ipswich and Leicester were doing all throughout last season for the majority. And I didn't enjoy that, to be honest. So I think to have a productive season and, try and keep ourselves out of trouble, as most non-Big Six fans say, a nice cup run wouldn't go amiss either. But just to keep ourselves out of trouble. And if we're sat in around that sort of 10th to 14th mark come the end of the season, I'd probably, snap your arm off right now, to be fair. But it's hard, like I mentioned towards the start, it's very negative in the Wolves space at the moment, and that negativity can easily spill out onto the players, because when things aren't going so well, the fans will take it out on the players, and it'll show a lot about their character to see how they react to that. So it's up to Vitor Pereira. If he can get us off to a good start, the mood could change drastically very quickly. But I think we're too strong to be in a relegation dogfight, to be honest. But it completely depends on how those bottom 3 or the 3 teams that have just come up, how they continue in the transfer market as well, I suppose. Yeah.
What do you think he'll do this weekend? Because as you say, no wins in pre-season, but I don't know if he's been tinkering with anything new or trying new systems, that sort of thing. That could be played into those results. So what are you kind of expecting from Wolves at the weekend?
Yeah, system-wise, it's pretty much the same sort of shape that you would have seen last season. And I remember the game at the Etihad, we actually played pretty well that game, and had a couple of good chances.
Probably the better team for a long spell in that, yeah.
You guys ended up getting the win. But my concern, I think, as most teams would do against City, I think we'll sit deep and, try and beat you on the counter. And, we did that quite well the last 2 seasons at Molineux, to be honest, although we'd lost out narrowly last year. My concern is that we don't have a lot of pace going forward, especially with someone like Cunha added that, Neto added it the year before. We haven't really got that. And the wing backs that we've got at the moment probably aren't, especially the right wing back, it's probably going to be Keanu Hoover, who's just nowhere near the level that Wolves want at the moment. So we can't even rely on them as attacking outputs at the moment, I don't think. So I think it'll be a 5-2-3 for Wolves, but pretty deep. And I'll be intrigued to see what we can do on the transition and counter-attacking, because we haven't looked great going forward this pre-season, to be honest. I really hope out of somewhere, they've been practicing something this week in training, and it all clicks together at the right time.
Yeah, well, you've got the unenviable task now of trying to come up with the score prediction for this game, because you've got absolutely very little data to go on about how the teams are going into this one. City are as unpredictable as they've been for a while. Wolves, honestly, not sure what you're going to get. So I think it's going to be heart over head time this time, Dave. But charity bet time, what are you going for?
Whenever I normally do these, I normally pick my heart, don't I? And I think once or twice it has helped me, but I can't see past the City win, to be fair. I'll say that Wolves will surprise me and get a goal, but I'll go with City 2, Wolves 1.
You're listening to the Blue Moon Podcast. You've made it this far, so don't give up now.
That was Dave Azzopardi from Talking Wolves. Ciaran, how much of this does feel like a new start then? After everything we've just talked about, the fact that they've had, 4 weeks or so away since the Club World Cup, a bit of chance for Guardiola to do a bit of coaching with them. Not too many pre-season friendlies. Maybe that might be a bit of a downside. But they've been able to get some rest.
Yeah, I mean there is a little bit of excitement, I think, coming through. Through my mates that I'm talking to through online, new faces, both playing staff and coaching staff, saying goodbye to some just some big huge stalwarts like De Bruyne and fan favourites like Grealish and stuff. It does feel like a bit of a clean slate, and it's one of those mad exciting things, isn't it? Where do you remember when we lost, I don't know, let's say Aguero or Yaya or David Silva, those absolute hugely important mad players who were so significant at that period of time for City and the success that they brought, and you almost thought it would never kick on again. It would never keep rolling, because how could you ever replace Yaya Toure? He's 1 in a million, or somebody like David Silva. And how can you replace the likes of De Bruyne? But then you see this, exciting new player like Cherky, and all these worries about Gundogan falling off or Rodri's injury, and then you see somebody like Reinders coming in. It's just, there just is excitement. Plus, we've got a left back. Hurrah!
No right back though.
Well, yeah, that's true. We can't have everything, David.
And to be fair, the left back can't defend either. So,
well, yes. It's just interesting to see an out-and-out left back actually, sign for the club. So yeah, it does. It feels like Pep will be re-energized. I think the Pep Linders joining. I think that's huge. I think that's a really significant bit of recruitment, because so often, Klopp had Pep's number, and the way Liverpool played under Klopp and Pep Linders was just so dynamic, so direct, so hard to deal with. And sometimes there was we could be a bit too static and stagnant, and kind of looking around going like, where is this going, and what's the aim here? It did just sometimes seem like passing for passing's sake a bit too often last year, and then opening ourselves up, having no legs to get back and recover, and all of a sudden we're fucked. So this directness, and you want Pep to feel re-energized too, and somebody like that, somebody who's done it with Klopp, I suppose it feels like it might be a really, really interesting bit of recruitment for Pep, for the players. We need some energy again, and then if, as Jack said, the fun went out last year, Colo in there too, and then set pieces as well. As you can see, sometimes you just feel like City will never ever score from a set piece, and having a set piece coach, there's loads of little mini kind of offshoots happening that's making it a little bit more exciting than just another season. And add a little bit of rest in there, new captain, new signings. It does feel like a little bit more of an enthusiastic time. I'm not saying that means necessarily that we're going to, win absolutely everything, but it just feels like some dynamism and some excitement might be back in the dressing room again, and that might feed into the fans.
Yeah, Jack, for a lineup, like Sam said at the end of that feature at the start, that predicting a Guardiola lineup it's difficult enough anyway. But with the size of the squad at the moment and the players that are there, it's hard enough now. I don't know if you have to do a predicted 11 for this one. If you do, God help you.
Do you want me to run through what I think?
Well, all I'm thinking is, like, could there be kind of two sides to this at play? Kind of what Guardiola is going to pick.
One.
And what? Yeah, let me finish the question. What Guardiola's going to pick, and what the fans want him to pick? Because obviously the fans are looking at this thinking, "I want to see Cherky, I want to see Reinders, I want to see Aït-Nouri in there," and then you get a midfield two of Bernardo and Gundogan. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like you start with midfield two. As I said to you, or as I was saying before, like when he was discussing midfield options earlier, like Bernardo and Gundogan weren't being categorised as numbers as sixes. So really, Nico Gonzalez.
Yeah.
But Nico Gonzalez should play on Saturday. And if he doesn't start on Saturday when Rodri's not fit enough to play 90 minutes and Kovacic is out till October, what happens to him? If the manager has said he's got 3 number 6s and none of them play, even though one of them's fit, like, I don't know, writing on the wall.
That's Calvin Phillips territory, isn't it?
Yeah, so that would be arguably the most interesting thing to come out of the team selection on Saturday, I think. But I would sort of, I was having to think about it because yes, I do have to put a team in for the newspaper. I don't really understand why we still have to do this. Like no one's picking up the paper on Saturday going, I wonder what Jack Gaughan has picked for the Wolves game, and like how wrong is he going to be? I would still probably Ederson, Nunez, Diaz, Kusanov, depending on if Guardiola's fit.
Yeah.
And Ait-Nouri, and then it's got to be Gonzalez. Has to be Gonzalez.
I really want to see Gonzalez and Reinders in there.
Yeah, I think Gonzalez and Reinders, and then I think it goes. Yeah, I think it might be Savinho, Cherki, Doku, and Doku, Cherki, Marmoush, Haaland.
Yeah, and that's a nice blend of where they. And you think of what.
But
last
then the
season
captain's
was
not playing, so it's obviously wrong, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wrong.
Yeah, but like this is the other interesting thing about all this. The year that Fernandinho was captain, he didn't play that much.
No, but I mean, yeah, Bernardo's. Yeah, maybe, yeah. But like, I think it's interesting. They always have an embarrassment of riches from a quality perspective, like every year. I think that's self-evident and very much fair enough to say. This year they have, but they've also got like staggering amount of actual humans in the squad.
Yeah, you didn't even name Foden though.
No. Well, he's touch and go, isn't he? He didn't play last weekend. Yeah, obviously, if Foden's fit, Foden, I would pick Foden over Doku. But then that comes into sort of the Linda's discussion on like how direct they want to play. Is Pep going to go with it? Like, does Pep want his proper 2 wingers again, or does he want the more technical guys? There are so many like unanswered questions at the moment.
I think probably keep it tight until the international break. There seems to be, this barometer coming back after the summer. If we can get a couple of results together till the international break, because he said Kovacic is out till then, Rodri's out till then. What's up with Foden? I missed this.
Foden got a knock. He got a knock last week, so he didn't play. He didn't play in Sicily. So they're sort of like, they're not sure going into the weekend. Guardiola's the same.
What are the fixtures before international break? So it's
really difficult.
Wolves, Spurs, Brighton.
Difficult start.
It is, yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see where it goes. The good news is, I want predictions again this season. The charity bet's making a return. William Hill has given us 3 £10 correct score singles on City's games. The winnings are going to the Man City Fans Food Bank support group again this season. And we're trying to beat last season's total, which was our best ever season at £1,365. So no pressure. We've already heard from Dave Azzopardi. He's gone for a 2-1 City win. That's 6-1 and £60. Ciaran, what are you having for this?
2-0 to City.
2-0 City, 13-2 and £65. Jack, over to you, mate.
3-1 City.
3-1 City is 10-1 and £100 if you're right. Remember, you've got to be 18 or over to gamble. Prices can change. And for information on responsible gambling, take a look at begambleaware.org.
Email the show through our website, bluemoonpodcast.com.
Now, normally we'd do the alternative highlights at the end of the calendar year and then at the end of the season as well. But it's been a bit of a busier summer than normal this year. And since we've got Ciaran on with us, and he's the one that keeps the notes for this sort of thing, we decided to dip into it now for some of the alternative highlights of the summer. And Ciaran, you messaged me about this about 6 weeks ago, and then I completely forgot about it until literally the night before recording when you sent the list over. There's so much more here than I remember happening. We'll start, I think, with some data. Because MCFC Lads tweeted that since June 2023, 1,278 newborns in the UK have been named Rodri or Rodrigo.
I don't know whether they're taking like poetic license there with it, because isn't Rodri quite a Welsh name? Isn't Giggs' brother called Rodri, isn't he? So I don't know whether they're sort of shifting the goalposts a little bit there, whether it might be just like it's in the UK, so we don't know. Don't know how much that is. But
they were all in Wales.
yeah, exactly. But since June 2023, so since the treble and Rodri's goal against Inter Milan, 1,278 newborns called Rodri. If you choose to take it that way, it's very, very funny and brilliant and richly deserving. There's a dearth of Garys in the UK now. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah. So Gary's as a name is disappearing.
No, didn't know that.
I don't know the stats on that, but I just know. I think there was only like one born last year or something.
One Gary.
One Gary. I mean, it's a very Blue Moon podcast thing for me to do, to now go and track him down and get him on. I mean, last year's only 1 year old though, isn't he? So it'd be a bit tricky.
Still be more coherent than some of the guests you've had on.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, Ciaran, would you name a child Rodri Murray? Has a nice ring to it.
Rodri Murray, yeah. What's this? Has he got one of those like fuller names? You know, with like 4 parts to it. That would be fun. Rodri Hernandez or something, isn't it? Rodri Murray. Rodri Murray's got a lovely ring to it.
Yeah, but it's with an H though, isn't it?
That's what we're debating there. Yeah, we don't know whether it's the Welsh base one, and you know, MCFC Lads have taken liberties here. Yeah, we need to break down the spelling for that stat.
Yeah, it was Gary with 1 R or 2.
Oh, well, that's true.
Last year.
1 R.
1 R.
Yeah, 1 R.
You wouldn't have a first name with double R, would you?
Gary Cook does.
Gary Cook, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Sorry.
Some Haaland highlights, Jack. I don't know if you saw this while you were out on tour, but Marmouche is always on his phone, apparently. And this really winds Haaland up. There's a string of selfies he's taken with Marmouche just on the phone in the background.
Yeah, I mean, there's an irony to that, is there?
Yeah.
At least Marmouche is actually having a conversation with someone on the phone. Haaland's just posting it on Snapchat or whatever.
Yeah.
Or Instagram.
I'd never thought about it that way.
Traditional person out of the two would presumably be a Marmouche there. Fair play to him.
But I think Haaland wants to have the real life banter with his mates, you know, in the dressing room. And every time he's used to looking to his left and seeing Jack Grealish there, and he's nowhere anymore.
Well, if he wants real life banter, why don't he turn around when Marmouche is on his phone, turn around to the rest of the lads and go, look at this clown. Let's do I don't know. Let's put peanut butter in his sliders or something.
That is real life.
Is that an old Gaughan trick, that one?
Off the top of my head, that.
Yeah. Did you see his happy birthday selfie, Jack? Where he took a selfie again on Snapchat and he posted it with the caption, "Before you come for my hair, take a moment in front of the mirror and ask yourself, am I truly qualified to judge the hair that looks better than mine?"
No, I didn't see that. I didn't say that. God. He's quite a funny fella, isn't he?
Yeah. Ciaran, we've touched on Kyle Walker. Obviously, Scott Carson's gone as well. He averaged a trophy every 9.8 minutes of playing for City. Kyle Walker also like you talked about his interviews, he'd give that interview where he said he was happy to, he would give up one of his Premier League titles to have won the Europa League with Spurs. I mean, which one would you give up? He
should be forced to give up the one that he lifted as captain for saying something as outrageous as that.
How does it? Does everybody else on the team have to give it up as well? Does it mean that City didn't win it?
Does he mean his medal, or does he mean the win?
I presume the actual act of winning.
Because is this basically I basically saying I would rather have not been in the squad, let the squad have still won it, but I wasn't in it, or we as a squad didn't win it?
But I don't know which one you would pick, really. Like, you wouldn't pick the early ones because he'd never won the title before.
Yeah.
And then 2021, they arrested the title back off wrestled the title back off Liverpool. Sorry, 2022, you're not giving up because of Villa.
Yeah.
Like and everything that went with that. 23 treble. 24, he's captain,
and 4 in a row.
Yeah.
So what are you like?
It would have to be 21 because it was the COVID season, wasn't it? It probably would have felt a bit empty in comparison.
Yeah, but again, like they've taken it back off Liverpool, haven't they? So I just don't, I don't know which. It's almost as if every single title win has its own story and is really good.
Yeah,
memorable.
And Spurs Europa League win, although it was over United, so that would be nice to have the memory of, I suppose. Like, would you give up a Premier League win to beat United in a cup final?
He basically just doesn't. Very rarely engages his brain before he speaks.
That's true.
Or defends, as that Burnley tweet showed. I don't know if you saw him being taken on 1v1, Jack, but it wasn't pretty.
Yeah, jockeyed, stood him up, sat himself down.
The trademark move of Walker.
Yeah, Jack, were you in the press conference where Guardiola accidentally said Nico Williams instead of Nico Gonzalez? And Nico Williams, never having played for City or, as far as I'm aware, been a target of City's.
No, very much on his mind, which gives you a little bit of thinking into what they were thinking this summer, I think.
He does this a lot, though, doesn't he? He says a lot of things like, sorry, you have to repeat the question because I was still thinking about something else.
Yeah. Love to know what he actually... Yeah, anyway. I mean, there was one on Friday night where I just asked him a complete underarm question, which was... Happy with James Trafford. Must be pleased that he's joined. And he went, James who? What? Oh, God.
This is Pellegrini forgetting that Nastasic didn't exist. Or did exist. Forgetting that he did exist, yeah. I've just deleted him from history there as well. Ciaran, you enjoyed him playing two-touch on the beach with the squad. And like, there's a couple of other things as well, because he was also, he enjoyed himself at Oasis, and then he was on the stage as a cardboard cutout. Has he still got the moustache, Jack, as well? Has he got rid of
that? These are things that I don't pay attention to. I don't think so. I think it's gone.
It's gone.
You wouldn't. I think even whether you're paying attention or not, I think you would notice that caterpillar underneath his nose. Like, great to see him at Oasis. Great to see him wearing a City shirt to Oasis as well, like a sort of vintage City shirt to the gig. Not sure about I believe they're called jorts, jean shorts. Yeah. He wore them. They weren't great. And there's a video of him trying to sing along with "Don't Look Back in Anger." And he doesn't really know the words, which is just unfathomable. Like, everybody knows the words of that. It's seeped into your brain through osmosis. Like, I'll forgive him. It's not his native language, but yeah, surely you can sing along with it a bit better there, Pep. Like,
that sort of reminded me of when there was that video of him at the CFA celebrating presumably a title. Might have been the 2021 COVID one, actually, where there was videos of them all at the training ground celebrating, and he's got a cigar on. Yeah. And there was I can't remember what Oasis track it was, but there was an Oasis track that he obviously didn't know every single word to. So periodically just puffed on his cigar when he didn't know the lyric. It's so obvious.
Fair play. Listen, fair play.
Yeah.
And Jack, you have to do the starting lineups and like the things like that for the paper. Have you ever done one on the calendar app?
No, I didn't see this. I saw this in your copious notes, but I didn't actually click on it.
That's it there, if you can see it, Jack.
Yeah, that's mental, isn't it? That is absolutely mad.
Yeah. So I tweeted just laughing at it, and somebody replied to me saying the next Sunday, the 26th, is in October. So he's actually like scrolled down to get a month that would look better on the screen. So October 25 was the next month.
Can you imagine like stealing that fella's phone and going, bloody hell, he's got week on Sunday, he's got a meeting with Bernardo Silva?
Yeah. Would you believe that was on a Sunday the 8th?
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
But that's wrong though, isn't it? If it's Sunday, if Bernardo, poor from me, Bernardo Silva on a Sunday, renders the whole thing pointless because that means he's playing on the left-hand side. No one would ever play Bernardo Silva on the left-hand side.
Oh, no. Oh, shut my mouth. Sorry, that's my bad. It's a weird layout where Saturday's the last day of the week.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Sorry. Yes, Bernardo 8th of October apparently is Saturday, yeah. Doku's Sunday the 2nd. I'd know he's Sunday the 16th and Nunez is Saturday the 22nd.
Yeah. Yeah, good to get those things sorted out.
Yeah.
Get them nailed down into the calendar, isn't it?
Hope he's got enough tea bags.
Finally, Ciaran, speaking of Bernardo Silva, did you see his body check on Florian Wirtz when he was playing for Portugal? It's like exquisitely done.
I love Bernardo so much for that kind of nonsense. Like, I just think he's fucking tremendous. When it comes to any bit of devilment, bit of bite, he's got it. And he seems to really hate Liverpool. Going back to the the polystyrene cup for the Guard of Honour in 2020, just roughing up their brand new signing, who everybody was dying about. It's one of those things, isn't it, where like, I don't know, if you were to tweet about that or something, Liverpool fans would be in your mentions going, "Hey, the state of you! Like, what do you it's no big deal." They all, because I live in Liverpool, don't they? They absolutely hate Bernardo Silva here. Like, really, really, like, Copites absolutely detest him. Call him
Public enemy number one.
Yeah,
what, like real like end of the bar or water cooler chat? Like, oh, God, Bernardo Silva's
They really don't like him. You know, when they're listing out their kind of players that they hate, even kind of like sensible Liverpool fans who I'm mates with, or like the kids that I teach, every single one of them, just like when Bernardo Silva's name mentions, like, you know, they sort of like crease up a little bit. Like, very, very funny to me. Which is, you know, everything they hate about him is one of the reasons why he's you know, just my favourite player. He's amazing.
It's a shame that, really, because Saturday the 8th is obviously a weekend, so you're not really for it.
True, yeah. But yeah, just, it's lovely, isn't it, when you have these things that are able to be clipped up so easily, and then, you know, I'm not saying he's done it for social media or whatever, but it's just brilliant that you can kind of like this one isolated moment in a game that I would never watch in a fucking million years. Like, all of a sudden he's taken out their brand new signing, and it just gives you that little bit of a rush for a minute, you know, like, why the hell not?
Yeah.
I mean, what the cameras didn't capture was Bernardo Silva. I mean, a diminutive Bernardo Silva stood over him saying, "Welcome to the Premier League." John Terry might
dear. Right, let's squeeze in some listener questions to finish.
Ask the
Get in
panel.
touch. Yeah. Get in touch on Blue Sky at Blue Moon Podcast on there. Email contact at bluemoonpodcast.com as well. Matthew's been in touch on the emails to say, is that grey and green rainy weather shirt the worst club shirt that there has ever been? It's possibly one of the worst sports kits I've ever seen. Ciaran, this is a massive sign, isn't it? That like third kits, fourth kits, whatever, not for me anymore.
Anymore?
I used to like a good silly colour, but no.
You're a goalkeeper, man. They're all silly colours. Anyway, sorry.
Oh my God, it's just, as vile garments go, it is just the vilest. But I thought we couldn't get any worse after that. Do you know the Navy one that just had Man City across the front of it?
Yeah.
Like, in my head, that's held up as the worst. But this is in a completely different direction. Just pish. Just absolutely horrific. The colour of it's awful. You know, the sort of like proper neon horrible green with the grey. Awful colour scheme. But the theme of it, the rain theme, that's just, I hate this cashing out, or cashing in, I suppose, on Manchester stuff.
It was the way they said they were paying tribute to the Manchester weather. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I know. See, there was the Hacienda stuff a couple of seasons ago, wasn't there? Like, which is a bit of a tribute to Manchester, and then there was the
B was like 2009. It was a while ago, but there was they had the yellow and black away kit. That was quite nice.
Yeah, that was really nice actually. They did the Paisley a couple of seasons ago as well, didn't they? Which was like you know, a bit of a sort of nod to that sort of Manchester style and, you know, mod ideas really. And it's just this sort of like look at us, we're from Manchester, while moving the club further and further away from its Manchester working class roots. It's hypocrisy to begin with, but then the actual look of it is horrific. People don't love the fact that it rains all the time in Manchester. Do you know, it's not like an absolute selling point. So putting it on the shirt is just ridiculous to me. I just hate it so much. It's cheap looking and it's a cheap idea. I'm very, very disappointed by it.
They just presume that everyone like bounds around in cagoules all the time, don't they? Like genuinely, like that's what they think. Like, just amazing. Yeah. That you mentioned that third kit or fourth kit or whatever the hell it was with Man City, like emblazoned the cross, the blue one, the navy one or whatever. Like that's the sort of thing that stalls in Bangkok would turn that away because it looks too fake.
Yeah,
we're not selling that. Yeah, we're not hanging. If you think we're hanging that up here to sell to the general public,
you got another thing.
We're not hoodwinking them. Yeah. We're not hoodwinking them like this. Oh, what do you mean? What do you mean it's real?
Yeah. Well, and now it's raining lime green. Very quickly, John on the emails got in touch to say, for the past 2 seasons, at the end of the season, I've asked the question to rate the season out of 10. So a bit of a twist. How about predicting at the start of the season how City will do out of 10, and then seeing how accurate you were? For what it's worth, I fancy an 8 out of 10 season, which would be a top 4 finish and a cup. So score out of 10 for how you're feeling for this season.
Would top 4 be 8 out of 10?
With a trophy.
A cup.
I don't know. I'd say that, yeah. I mean,
see, after last season, after the season that's just finished, if we had a big Palace on the last day, in the cup final, would that still have been 8 out of 10?
Absolutely not. Surely not.
No. See, the thing is, it's a brilliant question from John, but it is hard to kind of validate or quantify what a sort of 10, 9, 8, 7, 6 out of 10 is whenever you know the quality of football and results and sort of trauma that went on last season, even though we were very close to that cup and we did finish top 4.
Because I guess in many ways, like if next season, if City were to be in the title picture up until the final day but didn't win the league and finished second, that would be much different to finishing second but having been out of the title race from February.
But I suppose if you crawl your way back up, if you look way out of it, so City did look way out of things. There were worries about finishing top. I don't know 7 at times, weren't there? Wasn't there a proper race? Because Forest were involved, Villa were involved, Chelsea were involved. There was a bit of a race for those top 7 positions up until pretty late, and then City managed to sort of lock down third. Fairly handy, or did that go to the wire? I can't even really remember.
It took till the final day, but they were
yeah. But even then, because it took to the final day, that doesn't feel like, let's say, a 7 out of 10 season. That feels like we got in there by the skin of our teeth, and the football was pretty atrocious. Results were pretty bad. Vibes were pretty bad. I would like to predict that City will have an 8 out of 10 season this season, but for me that would be a league and cup double.
That's only an 8 out of 10.
Well, treble or quadruple is 10 out of 10, isn't it? Champions League would be 9 out of 10. League and cup double would be 8. Do you not think so?
It does feel like a bit of a renegade shout. That.
Where's the quantification of what an 8 out of 10 looks like then?
That's the point.
That's the beauty. That's the beauty of the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
I would say they'll have an 8. I would predict that they'll have an 8 out of 10 season, but that would be a top 2 finish and silverware.
So I'm far more on that same sort of page. I don't think you have to win the league to have an 8 out of 10 season
and cup double.
But Jack's pussied out a little bit there by saying silverware, because that can be anything.
Well,
I actually named it.
Yeah. You named the fucking league title and the FA Cup and went, that'll be an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, or Carabao, it doesn't matter.
Well, I was going to come on to the Carabao. So Haaland had done like a Q&A at the club on Wednesday night for the City in the community, and I think they had like 40 fans there and whatever that paid quite a lot of money to sort of be around him for the evening. Anyway, he said the one trophy he wants to add, the Sweet Carabao.
Yeah,
There's never won it, has he?
New badges this year as well, isn't there?
Really?
Yeah. It's a big ploy by Carabao to get more people to buy them in club shops and put them on the shirts and things. You get like Newcastle have gold badges as the reigning Carabao Cup champions, and then everybody that's won it in like in football history that's won the League Cup gets a special badge with the number of times they've won the Carabao on it. If not, it's just normal Carabao Cup badges.
That's silly, isn't it?
There you go. That's capitalism.
Silly when it comes to Carabao, like.
Yeah,
all bets are off.
The downfall in the drop off in the Carabao over the last few years has been nothing short of disgraceful, hasn't it? Really?
I know. Since City weren't really interested in it anymore, it's just it's gone to the dogs.
Yeah. I mean, he did. The Haaland did end up saying, "Yeah, I would prefer to win the Champions League or the title." But like, it was interesting
that's the less
just
fun
amusing.
Answer, isn't it?
Amusing that he said, "Oh, I want to win the Carabao."
Yeah. That's the 8 out of 10 answer, isn't the Carabao?
Yeah, Carabao's the 8 out of 10. Right, well, that brings this opening episode of the season to a close. Thank you very much for listening if you've made it all the way through. And thanks also to my guest for this one, Jack Gaughan.
Thank you. That was a solid 6 out of 10.
And Ciaran Murray.
8 out of 10 for me, David.
Excellent. Always 10 out of 10 for me. You know the drill. The extra episodes are back as well. If you're a Patreon backer, then we've already started the Monday Nostalgia shows. The first from the start of August was a brand new format called Agree to Disagree, a sort of informal debate episode where Ciaran, along with Dom Farrell and Dan Burke, previewed the season. Then this week we had the first of the new series of the games that made me, as former City chairman David Bernstein took us down memory lane to describe his journey as a City fan. There's a clip of that one coming up shortly. You'll get those episodes every Monday. If you sign up, it's just £2 per month. And for all the information about how to sign up, head over to members.bluemoonpodcast.com. I'll be back next week after the trip to Wolves. See you then.
That was the Blue Moon Podcast. Please give the show a rating and a review where you can. And don't forget, you can listen without the ads by signing up to our Patreon. You'll also get an extra episode each Monday. Here's a clip of this week's.
I was 17, 18 then, just learned to drive, and with a friend went up on the very, very wet Saturday, drove up the M1 to see this club side. It wasn't anything particularly special match in anybody else's eyes, Luton against City. The outstanding thing I'll never forget was Dennis Law. You had 21 players on the pitch who were struggling, fighting their way through the mud. And Dennis Law just seemingly walking on water. He tormented poor Luton. He scores these 6 fantastic goals. And then to my horror, the referee abandoned the match. The replay is fixed for, I think it was the following Wednesday. I can't back up the M1 that Wednesday with the same friend. The two of us went up together, drove up. It was also a wet evening. The pitch was still pretty awful. Dennis Law scored again, so he scored his 7th goal of the tie, but we lost 3-1. I suppose this was one of the matches, and all supporters, I think, have this, where you feel a sense of grievance. You know, here's my great club coming all the way down from Manchester, get cheated out of the first match by a referee, you know, who's not strong enough to carry on through a bit of mud.
You can listen to more of that at patreon.com/Blue Moon Podcast. And join us again next time for another episode.